Awesome.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another series of our um, First Thursday Speaker Series webinar. This evening, we are very happy and very excited to welcome Larissa Graham, the new Education Coordinator for the Connecticut National Estuarine Research Reserve, a mouthful, as our speaker tonight. Larissa has worked in the environmental field for nearly 15 years, sharing science-based information with a variety of coastal audiences. After finishing graduate school, Larissa worked closely with NYSMEA as the Long Island Sound Study Outreach Coordinator for New York Sea Grant. Yay! In 2013, Larissa moved to the Gulf Coast, where she worked for Mississippi Alabama Sea Grant, the Grand Bay National Estuarine Research Reserve, and student conservation. And now, after nearly a decade away, Larissa is coming back to her New England roots and sharing her love for the sound with youth, young adults, and community members. We look forward to hearing about the newly designated Connecticut National Estuarine Research Reserve, which includes more than 52,000 acres of marsh, wow, upland and open water in Long Island Sound and southeastern Connecticut. So take it away, Larissa.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and then put you all back over here I'm going to put some stuff in the chat as we move around here. So let me move the chat over here too. Yeah, so awesome. Thanks for having me. As Lisa mentioned, I was a NYSMEA member for a long time, and it's so good to see so many faces here. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Connecticut National Estuarine Research Reserve. It is a newly designated reserve. It just started back in January 2022. Our new manager for the reserve is actually starting next Friday, so we're all very excited about that. Yeah, and what I want to do today, we'll see how the time goes. I know we started a little bit late and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I have some resources that I want to show y'all. I was thinking we might poke around in them together. Since we are so new, a lot of stuff that we have is stuff that other people have done, but it'll give you a good idea of what our products will look like once we get up and running. Give us a little bit more time. So, okay, let's get started. Okay, so the Connecticut Reserve, so Lisa, that's what I call it, just so it's not so much of a mouthful. The Connecticut Reserve is one of 30 reserves around the nation. So this is a program that's funded in part by NOAA. Each one of these reserves also has a state partner that also provides funding. And you'll see, so here we are, Connecticut, number 7 here. But we also have a reserve on the Hudson River, so that one's really relevant to you all, and in Narragansett Bay. So the reserves are designated to protect and study estuarine systems. And the main 3 things we focus on are water quality, habitat, and then climate change. So we're going to talk about the ways we track and protect all of those things in a little bit. So I mentioned NOAA is our federal partner. They're the ones that provide a lot of funding for this program. Additionally, each reserve has a state partner. For us, it's the University of Connecticut. So we are actually based on UConn's Avery Point campus down in Groton. And then we also work really closely with Connecticut DEEP, the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. You'll see as we go through the sites that they own a lot of the sites that are part of the reserve. So as Lisa said, the reserve is about 52,000, a little over 52,000 acres. The majority of that, about 50,000 of those 52, is Long Island Sound. So it's all this area in the blue on this map. So you can see about 50,000 acres with Long Island Sound up the Thames River, up the Connecticut River, and in some of these embayments as well. There's also 5 land sites that are part of the reserve. 2 on the Connecticut River, that's Lord Cove, and the Connecticut Deep headquarters, as well as Roger Torrey Peterson Natural Area Preserve. We have UConn's campus and Pine Island. If you've ever been over here, that's that little island right off of campus. And then also the Bluff Point Complex, and then Haley Farm State Park. So, and if you're not familiar, this is located in southeastern Connecticut. So, just quickly, a lot of people ask, like, why was this area designated over any other area in Connecticut? I'm going to show you a couple of facts, just like some things that led to that. There's actually a 469-page report that outlines why this area was designated over other things. There was 4 different areas that were kind of like up for debate in the eastern part of Long Island Sound. And so if you read that report, it kind of breaks down why they chose this. But I'm going to go over a couple of reasons why. So first, let me just show you some aerials. So I showed you this map. I put it up here, but the Roger Tory Peterson area, that's right here. So if you can see my little cursor, it's at the mouth of the Connecticut River, and that's all this area in here. I'm going to talk about why that's important. And then you also have the Connecticut Deep Headquarters. So that's the area right down at the mouth of the Connecticut River. Here's a reel from Lord Cove Natural Area Preserve. So you can see all this pristine habitat here. Here's Avery Point, the campus over here. Project Doe that Lou was mentioning about. This is the corner of Pine Island here. So now we're over in this area on the map. The Bluff Point Complex, which is actually Bluff Point State Park, Coastal Reserve, and Natural Area Preserve. So that's right here. And then Haley Farm State Park, which was actually a park that I lived in Connecticut most of my younger life, and never even knew about this state park. It's actually a pretty nice one. So a couple of reasons why this area is so special and why it was designated as the Connecticut Reserve. So if you're familiar with Long Island Sound, which I think most of you are, Long Island Sound is a major driver of Connecticut's blue economy. So it contributes a lot of funds to Connecticut through the recreational opportunities, tourism, commercial fishery, things like that. In the area that's part of the reserve, it's really a unique, there's a lot of different unique habitats. There's shallow water, deep water, there's all different sediment types. The area of Long Island Sound that's part of the reserve also has about 540 acres of eelgrass. That's a little more than half of all the eelgrass in Long Island Sound. It also has about 8,000 recreational shellfish beds and 80 acres of leased shellfish beds, and then also some kelp aquaculture. So that's kind of part of the reason that area was designated. And I apologize for my coughing. My Connecticut allergies came back in full swing as soon as I moved back up here. Like, oh my gosh. So the Connecticut River. So the Connecticut River has the highest fish diversity in the Northeast region. So 78 different species of fish live in the Connecticut River. Also, the Connecticut River is really unique. A lot of the rivers in the Northeast have a port on them. But the Connecticut River, because it's sandy and shallow at the mouth, there was never a port. So it's another unique habitat type. Also, stopover for migratory birds and lots of recreational opportunities. And then over in that eastern part, that Bluff Point complex, and that's another really special area. It's the last significant piece of undeveloped land in the state of Connecticut down along the coastline. It has, if you've ever been to Bluff Point, it has like pretty much every single habitat type that you can imagine. It's a really special place. And then again, stopover for migratory birds and a lot of recreational opportunities. So that's just a little bit about the different sites. So what do we do at the reserve? We have 4 different focus areas, and we use the reserve as a place to conduct research and monitoring, conduct educational programs, and then also promote stewardship. So I'm going to run through each of these. I do want to also say that, like, one thing that makes the reserve, that I guess one of the reasons the reserve is really special and really an asset for Connecticut and the Long Island Sound community, is that it provides access. So when I say access, I mean like it provides public access so people can, go on the Sound, they can get to the coast, but also it provides access to a lot of funding. Because we're part of this national network, we have more opportunities to get funding to do research and protect this area. Also, we're part of this network, so we have a lot of access to like other researchers, different data, things like that. And then also with our community, it provides access to educational programming, and that can be for teachers and students, but also for community members using the science-based information that is conducted, like all that research that's conducted into the reserve, and getting that out to people. So I'll just skim through this, but we have those 4 different focus areas. And for each of these focus areas, we actually have a coordinator who's in charge of the work. And so our research and monitoring program, it's really to coordinate research, to leverage, projects that are already existing, make sure everybody's working together and we're bringing all that important knowledge about this area together. One of the other really important things is that we are going to have, and I'm going to show you this in a little while, but we're going to have these long-term monitoring stations. And these will collect information about water quality and climate. And then also some of the reserves also do habitat monitoring. So long-term habitat monitoring data. So for example, like a lot of them do look at sea level rise in wetlands. We don't have as much wetland area as other reserves have, but we do have, like I mentioned, a lot of eelgrass. So just looking at those like habitat types and how they're changing over time. So that's part of the system-wide monitoring program. And again, that's going to be these long-term data sets where you'll see when I show you in a little bit, you can actually access eventually, once we have our stations up and running, you'll be able to access that data real time, which is really great. We also focus on stewardship. And so this is really, getting people to be stewards of the environment. We're going to be conducting site assessments, so looking at rare and endangered plants and animals, and then also invasive plants. So for example, this summer, we already mapped out all the invasive plants in Bluff Point State Park. So now we can go in and develop a management plan to try to remove some of those invasives. And then the stewardship program also just really works to like nurture partnerships like the one with Connecticut Deep, and then also grow new partnerships. And stewardship is this program that kind of goes across all the other programs. So research and monitoring, training, and education, which we'll talk about next. So the coastal training program, this program is very similar to, if you're familiar with like Sea Grant, so like Lily's position, we take that science-based information and get it out to folks. It's a little bit different than Sea Grant because we're very place-based. So Sea Grant a lot of times goes to different communities. We probably will most likely bring the community members to us, or those coastal decision makers to us. But the purpose of this program is to really assess needs and then just make sure that we are providing coastal decision makers with the best available science so they can make the best decisions when it comes to managing our coastal areas. And then lastly is the education program, and that's the one that I'm the coordinator for. The main objectives for the education program is to just provide hands-on place-based learning, and also to promote environmental stewardship, environmental literacy, really just to get teachers and students and community members out enjoying the reserve and learning about it and understanding why it's so important. So there's a couple of programs that we will be required to have. We're in the process of developing those. One is called the KEEP program. It's the K through 12 Estuarine Education Program. One thing with the KEEP program is, if you're familiar with southeastern Connecticut, we have a gazillion programs here already that do K through 12 education. So for right now, we're kind of pumping the brakes on that until we find our unique niche. And we also will be providing tote workshops, or teachers on the estuary workshops. And these are very similar if you've gone to like the Long Island Sound Mentor Teacher Program that we'll talk about at the very end. It's really just like hands-on, field-based professional development or professional learning opportunity, and really just to like share the resources that the reserve has with teachers and help them use them in their classrooms. So one of the things I mentioned that we are a brand new organization. So just established last January. I started in October. Like I said, our manager comes on next week. So then we'll finally have all of our positions filled. But we are brand stinking new, and we're working really hard to just assess the needs of what teachers and students and community members really need. So one of the first things that I did was I conducted an educator survey, and we had about 170 respondents um, complete the survey, and they told us what they're currently doing in their classrooms, what they would like to incorporate, different incentives or barriers to attending training. Thanks to NYSMEA, because you all sent it out for me, which was really helpful. So that was just to assess needs. The next step, what we're doing now is trying to understand who's doing what. So like, here's what teachers need. Who's already doing those things? Like, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. So we have another poll that aligns with the needs that we identified from that first survey. And we're really just trying to pull together who's doing what, especially like in southeastern Connecticut. So all the information that we collect through that process is going to be used to develop our programming. So again, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We don't want to compete with anyone. So we're trying to find our unique niche. It also is going to help us to collaborate with others. And then the big thing is we're also going to share that information with the educators that took the survey so that they know where they can go to get the things that they're looking for. So what's to come? I'm going to share a bunch of different resources with y'all, but I wanted to just let you know what we're planning on doing. So what we're hoping to do is a lot of site-based programming. We want to have hands-on opportunities where students and teachers can collect data. We also want to allow, if people are interested in analyzing the data that we collect or using that in their classrooms, that's something that we'll also be making available. And then just making sure that all the information that we collect, whether it's teachers collecting it during different programs or our researchers collecting the information, we just want to make sure that all that data is also able to be used for management. We also are going to have a volunteer program where people can come out and help with our research and monitoring programs. And then we're also going to have some community events. So we're planning some stewardship days, especially once we need help eradicating all of those invasive species in Bluff Point. And then we're also going to have some reserve celebration days. Those are both planned for September, and they're going to be out this way, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to pause there for a minute and just see if anyone has any questions about the reserve. This is a link to our website. If you do use your phone to go to the website, the link's there too. You can sign up to be added to our newsletter. And then I've got a couple of, let me throw 3 links in the chat too. Hold on one second. So I'm going to put 3 links in the chat. Okay, there they go. Oh, nope, that's not it. Hold on one second. I have them here, but to actually cut and paste them. Okay. Copy and paste. Okay. So I'm gonna put these in the chat, and there's 3 things. So there's the link to our website, the one that the QR code's for. Also the link to the educator survey. If you're interested, it only takes about 10 minutes to fill out. And even though we analyze the results, we still have the survey opened. And then if you feel like signing up for e-newsletter, you can sign up to get the general one. Then there's also one for educators. So I'll pause there and see if anybody has any questions just about the reserve itself before we jump into the resources that we have available. Oh, Lisa, you're on mute. Sorry. Yeah.
I did use the QR code just now. So what I'm looking at, is that a newsletter or a website?
So that's going to take you to the website. It's going to take you to here. Let me show you where it'll take you. Okay. So that's going to take you right here. And this is our website. If you go to join us and connect, you can actually sign up for our updates. And they have we have different email lists you can get on. Right now, because we're so new, we mostly just send things to the newsletter out, but we will have educator updates eventually as well. Like if we're having that teacher on the estuary workshop, we'll send it out through that.
Okay,
So it
thank you.
should take you there. If not, the link is in, yeah, the link's in the chat as well.
It took me to a picture. Well, it says Connecticut National Estuarine Research Reserve, and it took me to a picture of two sailboats.
Oh, okay. I think it's there. If you go to the top, it should have the join us. Here, let me pull this back. It changes sometimes. So here. So I think you're looking at, oh, I don't know where you're looking. Well,
Yeah.
click on the one in the chat. That will definitely get you there.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Oh, in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, use that one instead. I wonder, I'll double check it.
Okay.
I have a lot of QR codes. Hopefully that one is still right because that's one I've been giving out to people, but I will double check it.
What am I
Oh,
looking
and
for?
Sonia, so
Oh, wait a minute.
you asked about the NER acronym. We do use it. I don't feel like a lot of people know what that means. So I call us the Connecticut Reserve. I'm like probably the only person that does that on our staff. I'm trying to break everybody of that habit until we get established. Then we can call ourselves the NER. But
Well, I
yes,
mostly wanted to ask because I know in Mississippi, Alabama, they say near, and I'm
yes.
curious which one Connecticut will go with.
So we apparently, so everybody uses NER, and that's because the near up here, there's like the New England there's like ecology, like I don't know, there's another acronym up here that is called the near. So everybody calls us the NER, but I feel like no one really knows what that means. So I call us the Connecticut Reserve. I'm like the only one trying to break everybody down, but we'll see. Yeah. So you can call us whatever you want. Awesome. Okay.
Okay.
Any
Okay,
other
great. I
questions
got it
or
all.
about the reserve?
I got it all. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Nice. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
now I want to jump into some resources. So like I said, I was really trying to think of like what would be most useful. You know, it's important to like just know where we stand with the reserve, you know, why it's important, why it was designated, and like what's to come. But I didn't want that to be it. So I have a couple of things that I want to share with y'all, and some of you might be aware of these opportunities, like these resources already. But I think there might be a couple of new ones. So, the first one I want to share here, and I'm going to actually real quick, I'm going to put all of the different resources. Let me put them in the chat just so we have them. Okay. So this first one is, has anybody seen this? It's the Estuary Education website. And you can, I put the link in the chat. You can also scan this QR code, which should take you to the right place. Let me pull it up here too, so we can look at it together. So this website is, this is run by NOAA, and it was just recently redesigned. So if you saw it in the past, it might look a little bit different. A couple of things I wanted to show you. So just quickly, this is the teachers on the estuary or the tote workshops. If you click on this, this is going to be nationwide, so it's not super helpful. You can search by state, so you can like look in New York, nothing scheduled. Each state only has to do, each reserve only has to do one of these a year. So it's probably better just to get on the email list if you want to know about those. This graphing and export system, we're going to spend a minute looking at that in a second. But what I wanted to do was show you these two other things. So there's this video gallery, and this you can search by reserve, or you can search by state or topic. So this is if you're looking for videos for like, I don't know, a lesson plan or a program you're doing, this has a ton of really great resources. So these are videos. And then if you go back, this is the one I want to play around with a little bit. This has different lessons. And when NOAA just kind of purge this. There's a ton of stuff in here, but a lot of people couldn't find it. It was not very well organized. So they've kind of taken out a lot of things, and they've made everything, I guess, a little bit more streamlined, and also connects to different things. So you can kind of follow along and get, you know, all the different resources on one topic pulled together. So again, just click on topics. So say you want to do like monitoring data. That's a great one. And then it will give you all of the lessons that are under that topic. So I don't know if everybody wants to take a minute or two to play around with this. And just
Sure,
like
why
see.
not? Sure.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take a couple minutes. So the link is in the chat box. And I'll pull the presentation back up, but just take a couple minutes to poke around, see if there's anything particularly useful. You know, anything that kind of you think you could use in your programs.
Okay, so are we in estuary? Are we looking around for stuff in estuary education? Okay.
Yep. So you're gonna go here. Let me pull back up my presentation. So this is what you're gonna do. So click on either this one, you could do the estuary education resources or the video gallery.
Okay.
And just kind of poke around and see if there's anything in particular that you would maybe use in your classroom or in your programs.
Very good. All right, let's get back there. Okay, and estuary. Teachers.
You can also pull it up on your phone. You can use that QR code to pull it up on your phone if it's hard to switch between monitors. Sometimes that's challenging when there's, you know, you're following along on like just a laptop or something.
Okay, so I was just at the Jacques Cousteau Estuarine Preserve, so I'm going to click there, and it's directing me to YouTube.
Okay.
All right, so clicking on that, and oh, a picture that I took. I see they're using. Okay, so I know I'm in the right place. And okay, and then they have all of these videos. Lunch and learn, Jersey friendly yards, landscape, okay. Advancing diversity. Oh, the shellfish upweller. I was just there. All right, so I'm going to click on that one. Reclaim the bay. Oh, how nice.
Here, maybe I can find the same. Are you in video or educational resources?
I'm in video.
Video's nice. Here, I'll pull up what you're looking at.
I turned it off because I have the sound on, but
yeah, you're good.
I saw that guy and I listened to his talk while we were all at the upweller there, and it was hold on, let me just turn off the sound. So let's see. Oh, I see. I can't do that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
hold on. Now I have to try and turn it off. Sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. You're good. Yeah. Did anybody else find here? I'll close this one. Anything else that people found that was of interest? There's a lot of different things on here. So that's just another one. That's just one resource that you can use. And this is something that we'll be using, like we'll be promoting once we start our Teachers on the Estuary workshops as well. Okay, so the next one, this one is pretty cool. I'm going to walk through this one just to make it a little bit easier. But the other thing that is on this website is I guess these things called data mysteries. And what they've done is they've actually taken the data that has come from those system-wide monitoring programs, so that water quality data that they just are collecting in real time. And what's happened is, like, over the years, like you all know this, like something will happen and the data, you've got this long-term data set and it's been recording it. So all the reserves around the system have actually come up with these data mysteries. And we don't have any in Connecticut yet. And they don't have any in New York, but I will tell you that We're gonna probably pull together some data mysteries just using some other data sets until we have this system-wide monitoring program set up. But let me show you this. So to get here, you can go from the estuary education page and click on these 3 dots, or you can just go to this website, or you can scan this QR code. And then I will also, there's so many ways to get there. I will also put this in the chat box as well. So let me click, let me pull up let me pull this up. So this is what this data mysteries page looks like when you get there. And so if pretty much it's just talking about how we have this system-wide monitoring program that is collecting data on different water quality, weather, and nutrients at all the different reserves. So if you scroll down, they have all these different mysteries. And what I'm going to do is just walk through one and show you how it works. And this is something really cool that you can incorporate into your programs or in your classroom. So we'll go to one that was done by Rhode Island. We're going to go to this one called Nag Creek Got Spiked. And so what happens is, here's the mystery. So on August 29th, 2018, there was a big increase in the dissolved oxygen in Nag Creek. Why might this happen? So what you do is they're going to tell you, so they give you some clues. So this one focuses on how there's daily fluctuations in dissolved oxygen. How if you have a lot of plants in an area, oxygen levels will go up when they're photosynthesizing. During the nighttime, oxygen levels will go down because there's no sun, they're not photosynthesizing. And then they also talk a little bit about how warmer waters hold less dissolved oxygen, colder waters hold more. So here's this map that kind of shows you, you know, winter, summer differences. And so the question is, what caused a dissolved oxygen spike in Nag Creek? So this is kind of the cool part. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. So I have 2. Okay, I'm going to open this in a new tab. So they tell you what you're going to graph using that real-time data that was collected. So if you go over, it gives you this. So this link right here will actually take you to this tab. So you're going to click on the Rhode Island Reserve. And then it's going to give you this map that shows all the different sites. So here they have water quality right here and nutrient data being collected down here. This is, if you zoom out, this is Narragansett Bay right here. And this is Prudence Island. That's where the the reserve is located. So you zoom in. So if we go, hold on 1 second, sorry. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull this just like this so I can not, okay. Okay, so if you go back to the data mysteries, it tells you what to graph out. So we're going to just do graph 2. So it wants us to use this water quality at Nag Creek, this station code right here. So we're going to go and find that station code. It's this one. Okay. So we're going to graph the data. So we go back here. It says that you want to look at dissolved oxygen and water temperature. So we're going to select the parameter of, let's choose dissolved oxygen here. And then we're going to select the same site. We're going to do water temperature. Okay, let's go back and look at the dates. So the dates were August 25th, 2018 to September 2nd. So let's put these dates in here. Was it August 25th? August 25th. Okay, and September 2nd. Okay, and then you hit graph. And if I did it correctly, there we go. Okay, so it's going to graph out that data. And so you can see here, you've got the temperature in green. Here, let me show you just the temperature.
That's great.
And then, yeah, and then you've got the dissolved oxygen in blue. So when you put them both on here, you can see that the temperature kind of stayed consistent, but there was that spike in dissolved oxygen. So you have your students or participants map this out, and then we go back to the data mystery. Okay, so we did this already. You guys scroll down. Okay, then it says, oh, is this what you found? This is what we saw. So we did it right. And then they say, here's a clue that might help you with solving the mystery. So this data set, what happened here was that the sonde, or this device that measures the water quality, it had been covered in algae. So then it asks you some questions. So was there a decrease in the water temperature that could help explain the spike? Nope, because remember, the water temperature just kept going. It was pretty consistent. Okay, we got that one right. Good. And then, could the stuck algae have contributed to the spike? Yeah, it could have. So submit that. And it says yes. And we solved the mystery. I picked the easiest one. Some of them are pretty, like, you have to graph out a lot of different things and it takes a second. But I wanted to show you that because I think it's kind of cool. And this is an example of something that we will have eventually. Some like a data mystery that I think we're going to do probably for our first teachers on the estuary workshop. It's going to be called a data mysteries workshop. And I think we're going to do one about the salt marsh sparrow. So just looking at some of their decline related to climate change. And then also we might do another data mystery related to like habitat restoration. Sorry. So any questions on that, or is that something that, I don't know, it's kind of cool.
Well, no questions, just a comment to say that that's really extraordinary and fun because the students don't have to labor over plotting. They could just see the results right away within the parameters they select, right, for that area and that date. And also the parameters that you're asking for, temperature and dissolved oxygen. So it's really very cool because you could change things as well. And I just think it's really a lot of fun. So they could come to conclusions much faster.
Yeah, and one thing with that, those data sets, if with this, you can, so the data mysteries you select data where they know something weird happened, and then that's how you solve the mystery. But you could just like look at things over time. You could pull the data up from any of the reserves using this system. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And again, as we get our own systems up and running, it's probably going to be a year or two before we have our own data coming in, just because they have to make sure everything's running well and everything like that. But
And do you mean your own data? You mean by that your own equipment? And
Yep.
these plots that we're seeing now are from other
Yes.
organizational equipment.
Yep. So all of like the data that we just mapped out was from the Narragansett Bay Reserve, but we will have at least 3 sites, possibly more, that will be collecting this real time data in the reserve area. So that'll be cool. Yeah. Okay, so let me go back here. Okay, so we did that. And then I know Lily's a pro at this, but I did want to highlight a couple of other things. So Lily works for New York Sea Grant, but with funding from the Long Island Sound Study. If you're not familiar, they are also a federal and federal state partnership. Their federal funding comes from the EPA. And if you haven't checked out their website, they have some really great resources as well on their website. So quickly, I'm just going to plug this one into. You can also go to that QR code. Okay. And in the description for this talk, I mentioned like volunteer opportunities, getting out in the field, things like that. We don't have a lot of that yet, but I did want to show you that on this website that the Long Island Sound Study maintains, there are volunteer opportunities. And this has, so any volunteer opportunities that are around, there's also the what you can do. So that also has some ways you can like volunteer with different organizations. But this is what I want to show you all. If you have not seen this, so if you go to, here, let me pull it up. Hold on one second. I'm clicking back and forth. But if you go to this educational resources on this page, that's where that link that I put in the chat will take you. And you scroll down, there's a bunch of stuff you might want to look at. A tour of Long Island Sound, so it has all these really cool photos from Long Island Sound. Ways that your students can collect data, helpful websites. And then this is what I want to show you. And I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with this, but this is a catalog, a resource catalog that has all different lesson plans and just different resources. So if you go to that page, click Start Here. And what you can do here is you can actually search by tags. So for example, maybe you want to see what's out there for like high school students. You click on that, it's going to update and pull up everything that has the tag 9th through 12th grade. So this is just another, there's just one thing I have found is like there are so many million resources out there. And I'm just hoping that this gives you like a couple of places to go to find them, because I feel like they're scattered all over the place. But this website's done a really good job of pulling a lot of them together. So just another one to check out. Again, the links in the chat. And you can see, you know, if you want to do something like look at marine science, you can click on that. And then that'll bring up everything with the marine science tag.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that's another, I guess, another bunch of resources. And then I guess just the last slide, I know we only have 8 minutes left, just the last slide, and Lily's on the call, so she can even tell you a little bit about this if she wants to, but yeah, well, Lily, do you want to just tell them about the opportunities you guys have, then I can wrap up with ours?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Larissa, and thanks for talking about Long Island Sound Study. So I'm the outreach coordinator for Long Island Sound Study. I started in October of 2021. So I was the first coordinator for New York City and Westchester County. And so we have these awesome resources. We did our first 2 mentor teacher workshops in New York City and Westchester County last year, and we're going to be doing more this fall. So would love to get you on our, our email list, but I think my colleague Jimena is really good at reaching out to, NYSMEA and coordinating and getting the information out. I know we're partnering on this educator field trip coming up on the 25th of August, and it would be great to get everyone out at Fort Totten in Long Island Sound to talk about this amazing estuary, this resource that's here. And what I'm finding is that, and being a New Yorker, for the last 16 years, I would say like most people don't know what Long Island Sound is, where it is, and we often don't think that it's here in Queens and the Bronx, but it is, and it's super exciting that we have the NER. I call it NER.
Yes, it's okay. You can call it that.
And getting our teachers and educators and students and everyone familiar with the estuary and how they can access it and get involved in some of the science and exploration. So my email is there. Thanks for sharing it, Larissa. And
yeah, sure.
The presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Lily. Yeah. And then we'll have our tote or teachers on the estuary workshops. Well, the first one's going to be probably next spring. We got to pass this year since we're brand new and we don't know what the needs are. Now we kind of have an idea. So we'll be doing one in the spring. So I'll definitely be sure to send it along to you all through NYSMEA if anyone is interested. We're just a train ride, ferry ride, or kind of long drive away. So yeah, that's it. I'll just leave it up here with the QR code that I'm going to try because I'm kind of worried, Lisa, that it didn't work. I'm going to try after we are finished, but my contact info is up there. We're on social media. If you want to follow along or sign up for our newsletter, feel free. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you so much, Larissa. If you just could you go back one slide for a minute?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank Lily for talking a little bit about this upcoming opportunity with Sea Grant on August 25th, where NYSMEA is very excited to be a part of it and contribute as much as possible. And I know that we put up this flyer in our newsletter so that our membership can scan the QR code and register for it. So I'll be checking in to see, if we are getting people from our membership for it, and I hope we do, because the agenda for the day looks very exciting. It looks very good. So we're looking forward to that, and we thank you very much for involving us and for renewing our relationship with you. Also, I just want to mention that this was very interesting. The resources that you brought up, the interactive resources. So I was like flying around as quickly as I could to the resources on my own. But I thought, wow, this is great. Since I recently visited one of the national reserves, I just wanted to see, what they had there. And since it's all, certain parts of the site are standardized, so it's very easy to use. And I was, very excited to be at the reserve. I actually went there because I'm taking an online marine stewardship course with Rutgers. And
Nice.
so as part of that course, they had a field trip day at the Jacques Cousteau National Reserve. So that's how come I got there. But I think the resources that you were showing of all these places and how they were put together in a much more user-friendly way, I think it will make the teachers and educators more interested and willing to go to this site. So I will, advertise it in our resources on our platforms, because some of what you're showing is in New York as well. And so
yeah. Yep.
for those teachers, and educators, I would think that they could go to this and play around with the data and learn just by, perusing all the sites. So I really appreciate your presenting this to us, because I didn't know it existed.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Yeah, those data mysteries I feel like are fun. I was actually trying to find one to show you guys, and I was trying to find one that was like, kind of quick and kind of easy. Some of them are like a little bit tricky. Like one of them, I was like, I don't know what I can't solve the mystery. I can't show this one. So challenge yourself. Try to see if you can solve all the mysteries. One of them, I can't remember which one it was, but it definitely stumped me. I was like, I need to refresh my science background for this one. But yeah, some are a little bit harder than others. But yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Well, that's great. And I'm sure that our viewers tonight, in some way will be able to, if not personally benefit from the information, pass it along and share it with their networks and colleagues and educator neighbors. And I know I will, even though I retired from the American Museum of Natural History in COVID, I like to say. I feel that I could send this out to people still back at the museum and let them know, what kind of resources are out there and what's been newly developed.
Yeah, that's great, Lisa. And eventually, I'm hoping we'll have like either on the website or somewhere, we'll pull together some of these resources. I don't want to reinvent the wheel like I've been keep saying, but it's good, especially like the Long Island Sound Study and NOAA's page. It just brings a lot of things together. So just promoting, those platforms that do that. So yeah.
You remind me of something Lou was saying for years, which was that there are so many lesson plans out there. There's so much resources and information. It just doesn't pay to reinvent the wheel. Everything that we need is basically out there.
Yep.
I think the advancements are coming with new technologies, not necessarily the core concept. So,
Yep.
so in effect, this is really nice to see that all this stuff that's out there has been, brought in to a platform and connected in a way that makes sense to teachers and educators. And as I said before, we'll make them interested in wanting to use the resources.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. It's good to see you all. This is good.
Yeah,
Happy
well,
to
we
reconnect.
thank you very much. We really appreciate your time with us this evening.
Sure.
Unless anyone has any other questions, I want to thank you very much for doing this for us. It's a very interesting experience. But more than that, just seeing the connections that were made here this evening, and you're showing the flyer for Sea Grant. I really do appreciate that, and I look forward to working more with everybody. And, thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, take good care. Thank you very much.